This is Coach Lee, and you're listening to The Door Report.
Run and a triple in Holcomb's last two at-bats. Replicate that, we'll be going home. And he sends it into center field. Well struck. Bonamolo tracking. Track wall. It is gone! Walk-off home run, Braden Holcomb. And Vandy takes the series.
I'm not gay no more. I am delivered. I don't like men no more. I said I like women. Women. I said women. I'm not gay. I would not date a man. I would not carry a purse. I would not put on makeup. I will love a woman. Listen, what?
Welcome back into The Door Report, and welcome into episode 314 on a lovely Tuesday evening, May 6th, 2025. I am Will Byrum, joined as always by my co-host Trevor Hulan, aka Hack Squat, Jim Duggan, and today is Pie Day. Not really. It's Pie episode. I don't think a lot of people got the reference I made on Twitter. I posted a piece of pie.
I certainly did not.
Tonight. Fine. I thought you were an elite now after your master's graduation. I guess those kind of jokes just going over your head, but whatever. Here at the Door Report, we are presented by 615 Collectibles. If you're into sports cards or sports memorabilia, check out 615 Collectibles on eBay. You can find them at ebay.com/str/615 Collectibles, or you can just go to ebay.com and type in 615 Collectibles in the search bar. Items include NFL team packs, graded cards, individual cards, and more. Shipping is always fast and free. Trevor, episode 314. I've been saying we have a lot to get to every single episode. Not really the case this week.
Or weeks to come.
We have a lot of baseball to get to. We will have a lot of baseball moving forward with the SEC tournament, with the NCAA tournament, and those previews. We have a lot of baseball maybe to talk about with the result from a very exciting Alabama series over this weekend, a big-time VandyBoys series win. We have that to talk about, but for the first time, really just not a lot of news on basketball or football, either one of them. I think it's the first time it's been since like last August, really, that there's no news on football or basketball. I mean, we have slight little rumors and a commitment on the basketball side of things, but we're in baseball mode now. And once baseball ends, the darkness is upon us and upon this podcast, and we have to start getting really creative, but we're not there yet, Trevor. So an exciting baseball weekend or an exciting baseball series over the weekend. We have the Battle of the Barrel about to be going on in about 30 minutes. So, Trevor, how are you feeling? Just initial thoughts from what you saw. And you also have some juicy scoops we will touch on, actually, on the football recruiting side of things on thedoreport.com. So make sure to subscribe.
Indeed. I will say, is the Battle of the Barrel, is it 6 p.m. Central Time or is it 7 p.m. Central Time?
I thought it was 6 p.m. Central Time. I could be wrong.
I might. So D1 Baseball might have it at Eastern Time. I could be wrong. Regardless, within a matter of moments, truly. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We got baseball to talk about. Big series win. Not just a series. We have big series win for the VandyBoys this weekend. And Clark Lee, Barton Simmons, and Vandy football rumored to be hot as hell on the Cruton Trail right now. Subscribe to thedoreport.com for more inside information on that. But we will get to that. And for the people who aren't subbed, we will dabble in it.
Yeah, we're going to break the paywall slightly. You're not going to get the full paywall.
We're going to break the fifth wall.
But we're going to break it a little bit. But before we get into all that and much more in segment one, we are now a part of the Rivals Publisher Network. Visit vanderbilt.rivals.com or thedoreport.com today and subscribe to a premium monthly or annual membership. You can use code DOORREPORT, all capital letters, no spaces, for a 30-day, no-risk free trial. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Door Report. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Our podcast is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and Google Podcasts. And while you're at it, give our podcast 5 stars and a review on iTunes. It's now time for segment 1.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Okay. Welcome back into episode 314 of The Door Report, and welcome into segment 1. We are going to be discussing the small amount of news we have on the basketball and football front in segment 1, then TDR cocktail break. Then we will be discussing the bulk of this episode, which is baseball, what they have on the horizon, where they sit in kind of bracket projections and that kind of thing. So first off, on the basketball front, Vanderbilt basketball did get a commitment. I think that has been since we last recorded, right, Trevor?
Indeed.
Chandler Bing, small forward. A lot of Friends references could be made. Chandler Bing, rest in peace, Matthew Perry. But Vanderbilt landed a small forward, an actual high school commit. Don't see a ton of those these days. Not a highly rated guy across most of the sites. No stars on 24/7. Was a previous Texas State commit. Decommitted from them in December. Also held offers from Georgia State, Texas State, and Vanderbilt. That is it. So not a highly touted guy, but a 6'5" small forward possibly could be a developmental player. A lot of times you see those guys come in. A lot of them will be transferring out. Karis Bilal comes to mind a little bit. Not saying that's the case. I don't want to be negative, but it feels like a nothing commit to me. Just my opinion with the modern landscape of college basketball. 5 years back, would have dug into this more.
I think he's a PWO.
He is?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive he's a PWO.
In that case, very low risk, high reward. If that is the case, then great. Actually getting a PWO that has other Division I offers, even though it does say he has an offer, if that's the information you have, would make it make a little more sense.
It's still technically an offer.
Well, it's still that's true. It's not a scholarship offer.
It's
a
weird.
roster
It's
spot
technically
offer.
it is an offer.
Okay. See, I missed out on that, but there's not a lot of basketball news outside of that. I do want to hit on how some former Vanderbilt basketball players are performing in the NBA playoffs. We haven't really talked about that much. You have 3 guys still in the playoffs. All 3 guys that began have advanced to the second round of the NBA playoffs. You have Darius Garland on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Has missed a lot of games. He's only played in 2 games this postseason, 24 points per game when he has played. Now, Luke Cornett is a guy that we've tweeted about a lot because it's kind of an unexpected career reemergence out of Luke Cornett. We talked about it before that we were not surprised that he had an NBA career. His ability to shoot, his size, his length, that's valuable in the modern NBA. But George Barclay wrote an incredible article about Luke Cornett and how he's reinvented himself. He is a rim protector now. He is a paint player now. He does not hang out behind the three-point line anymore, and he's been providing some very valuable minutes to the Boston Celtics during this postseason run. Granted, they lost last night or 2 nights ago when you're listening to this, but Luke Cornett's been playing about 16.5 minutes per game, averaging 3.8 points per game, as well as half a block per game. And 3.2 rebounds per game. So he's been very key for the Celtics. And then you have Aaron Nesmith playing a very big role for the Pacers, traded from the Celtics, actually, was drafted by the Celtics. 29.2 minutes per game in 6 games played, 15.2 points per game, 6.7 rebounds per game. Also very, very good defensively. By the way, Aaron Nesmith shooting 55% from the field and 54.5% from 3.
It's what he does.
The playoffs. So had to give a little bit of a basketball update for the Vanderbilt basketball fans out there. Anything you have to add on basketball?
No. I will say in terms of the NBA playoffs, I have been enjoying the NBA playoffs much more than I normally do. I'm not an NBA guy. I'm like the crotchety old white guy that's like, I love college hoops, hate the NBA. I've been watching a lot of the NBA playoffs. I know that Luke Cornett is on the Celtics, and I know they're playing the Knicks right now. I have found myself falling in love with the New York Knicks.
Boo.
I don't know why. There is something about the New York Knicks that just resonate with me. I think it's because I really like watching Jalen Brunson play. On the floor every other minute, but.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson, terrible defensively, great offensive player. The clutch player voted award in the NBA. subbed off the court during the final possession of game one because he's so darn clutch. He's so shit on defense. You can't even have him on the court, but he's clutch because that's what clutch means, having to sub him out on defensive possessions. I don't know. That rubbed Jalen Brunson's a hell of a player. He's unstoppable in the fourth quarter on offense. It's hard to give the clutch award to a guy that truly is a liability on defense. You have to sub off the court in the fourth quarter. He's so bad defensively that teams pick on him. That's just my opinion. It was a black eye on Shaq's career shooting free throws, and people still blame that. And Shaq at the free throw line. Jalen Brunson's that bad on defense. That's how bad he is. Whatever. It's getting off on a tangent. Knicks beat the Celtics last night, and I'm pissed off about
you know
it.
who else didn't show up in the fourth last night?
Jason Tatum. I'll tell you that. He had 3 opportunities late in that fourth quarter. I will defend Tatum, but he choked. He choked bad last night. I think he's still dealing. His shooting has been off since he hurt his wrist, which there's no defending that in the playoffs. You got to power through it. But he's been a little off since that happened, and that is concerning. As well as Chris Stapps was out with an injury. This is getting way off on the Celtics.
No, Tingus Pingus, you mean?
Me and George are the only guys that care about me and Boston George.
Tingus Pingus.
Jrue Holiday was back, though, and that was a big factor, but not having Chris Stapps almost outweighed that. But no premium board questions about basketball. None. I was that kind of makes sense since there was no news. There was one question that I have to get to. It just says question/thought.
We bring in the studio this morning one of the gay rights activists, Mr. Should I call you Mr? Pepe Julian Onzima. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for
Good morning.
having me. Morning to you.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay. You are
Thank you so much to NBA Door for that question. I'm not gay.
Yeah.
But
I'm not gay no more. I am delivered.
I am delivered. I don't like men's no more. I like women's.
Women.
I hope people know what video that is. That's going in the intro. I am delivered. All right. Football.
Just charismatic Pentecostal dancing, followed behind the loud "I am not gay no more."
That will be in the intro. Guaranteed one of my favorite videos. All right. Football. Trevor, you had some news on the football front. I have it written down as recruiting rumors.
Yep.
And then we do have some premium board questions about football to get to after you address the recruiting rumors and that hot topic.
Well, yeah, and so I'll start off by saying what Vanderbilt football is doing on the recruiting trail right now is truly unprecedented in the history of Vanderbilt football. So last week, got 2 blue chip commitments, 2 guys that Vanderbilt traditionally has not gotten. Now this week, I've been in talks for a couple of weeks about a specific prospect named Joel Wyatt, who goes to Webb High School in Tennessee. He's the number 3 overall player in the state of Tennessee. He is an athlete. He can play both sides of the ball. On offense, he plays wide receiver. On defense, he's a little bit of a jack of all trade, but really an edge rusher. Incredibly gifted athlete. High 4-star kid. Probably as the season rolls around, I do believe he will achieve that 5-star status. The big 3 that were hunting him were Tennessee, LSU, and Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt has been hot on the trails for Mr. Wyatt and had a really good dinner with him a couple weeks ago, and he ended up pushing back his North Carolina visit. And it was made aware to me yesterday that Vanderbilt is expected to land high 4-star, borderline 5-star Joel Wyatt out of Webb. An insane get for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt not only beat Tennessee, Vanderbilt also beat LSU. So there were a lot of rumors that Tennessee was sort of the team to beat. As Vanderbilt emerged within this recruiting process, that was not the case. Vanderbilt actually had Tennessee bounced, and it was a race between Vanderbilt and LSU. And from what I am hearing from multiple sources that I do trust, I fully expect Vanderbilt to land Joel Wyatt. That would be an insane get.
All right. After some brief technical difficulties, Trevor, back to what you were saying.
Yes. So I do expect Vanderbilt to land 4-star prospect Joel Wyatt out of Webb High School. Like we said, 2026 athlete. Truly could reach 5-star status along with Caden Harris. And I don't believe before we cut off, I was going on to say if Vanderbilt can keep and Clark Lee and staff can keep the momentum that they are currently experiencing on the recruiting trail, I firmly believe this is going to be the best high school class that Vanderbilt football has ever pulled in. I will add, with the kids that they still are communicating with, that's still hot on the trail with, if Vanderbilt can keep this momentum going, I firmly believe this will be a top 20 class. I don't know if it gets into top 15 status, but I could see them sitting at anywhere from 16 to 18. A lot of talent. Vanderbilt is sitting very, very well right now. Kudos to Clark Lee, Barton Simmons, Jamal Richardson, the entire staff. They're busting ass on the trail right now.
This is the momentum you want to see after a successful season that gained you positive national recognition and momentum. This is what you want to see. Now they need to carry it over, continue it, get these guys on campus, have another good season, and then continue this momentum more than just one good class, a couple of good transfer portal classes. Nothing indicates that's not going to happen, but this is fantastic. Like you said, I think undoubtedly, if they can hold this together, the best high school class they've ever had.
I think
to this point, and we will see how it expands out. But I mean, they've never gotten guys like this in a single class.
No, and even if they got no more splashes, if it was just sort of your traditional 3-star kids, if Vanderbilt could hold this blue chip core, I still think this would be the best class in Vanderbilt football history. But they have a real opportunity to make some waves, which is very, very exciting.
All right, let's get to the message board questions. There was one basketball question I missed. Unabridged says, in basketball, how stupid is the portal that a guy who couldn't find the court at Kentucky is commanding $800,000 allegedly? It's crazy.
Yeah, that he's referencing Travis Perry, who Vanderbilt was in on. Some things happened behind the scenes. We at TDR, there were some questions that people were reading that Vanderbilt was going to get Travis Perry. We were never made aware of that information. So we reported that, hey, we're going to pump the brakes on this. We don't think this is right. And yeah, so some things happened behind the scenes. Didn't like Vanderbilt's offer, or Vanderbilt, I don't know what happened. Ole Miss came in, offered the kid allegedly $180,000.
He said 800.
Oh, $800,000. I apologize. I butchered that. $800K. Yeah, that's just, we keep saying this week in, week out, and I don't know when we'll stop saying it. I don't know if we'll ever stop saying it, but I think that's just the nature of the beast at this point.
It's at peak craziness, and basketball is going to continue at peak craziness longer than football, I think, because the guy, a player can make a team in basketball in a way that it doesn't happen in football. And so that's the difference. It's why the NBA is a player-driven league. It's because basketball is a player-driven sport. Regardless of what your high school coach told you, the team with the best player wins most of the time at a high level. When you're talking high level best player, that's how it works. And when you can bring in a guy and overpay by triple what he's actually worth, but he produces on the court, you're worth what the market says you're worth. I think that's what we've used over and over. It's like, you can say that's crazy, but the market says that's what he's worth. You're worth what someone is willing to pay you. And right now, guys that are just mediocre level productive players at the Power 5 level, high major level, they're demanding crazy money, and people are willing to pay it. It's crazy. But getting to football message board questions, there is a baseball one, another baseball. It says, football question from Donardo Forever.
I love that name.
Am I crazy? But with all the beef we brought in on the offensive line, we're going to be able to mash people, right? If we can clock manage like last year, the sky's the limit. There is one, before we actually answer this, there is an interview that was on Vandy 24/7, or it wasn't Vandy 24/7, it was just 24/7 Sports with Barton Simmons talking about Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play the audio from that from my phone. I really hope it comes through well on the new mics, but he directly talks about the offensive line individually. And it's about a minute and a half. So I really hope this comes through well. Otherwise, I'm going to have to screen record and post it with the video.
24/7 Sports, Cooper Patagna says that you have a sneaky good transfer portal class. So we don't want it to be sneaky anymore. Barton, who's on campus now that's really standing out to you?
Well, it was really important for us to strengthen our offensive line. We've got what we believe is the best quarterback in college football in Diego Pavia, and we need to get the offensive line right in front of him. We need to, we believe we can run the football on anybody. We believe in our offensive line to set that tone. And so to do that, we've got to have the right people up front. Isaiah Glass, Jordan White, Bryce Henderson, some of the guys we've added up front. We've sort of strengthened from a depth standpoint, really across the board, added some defensive back, really talented players that are going to have a chance to be impact players on the back end. That was an important area to continue to build depth.
So that's the gist of what I wanted to get out there. The actual clip is a minute longer. You can go to Vandy Football at Vandy Football on Twitter and watch that full clip. But that beginning portion talking about the offensive line, it was interesting to me that is immediately where Barton Simmons went when talking about this transfer portal class. Because I don't think the offensive line is one of the strongest positions if you just took a step back and looked at this team across the board and listed the position groups by strength. I think number one is clearly tight end. Maybe I'm wrong in that. I think number two is clearly linebacker. And then number three maybe is defensive line. And then you can go from there with the depth of this team. Maybe I'm wrong in that assessment. I don't know where you rank them. But the offensive line and what they've done in the portal is the biggest because they lost a lot from last year, a lot of talent. You lost Stephen Hubbard. You lost Lasoya. Those are two big pieces of your offensive line that you don't have back this season. They brought in Isaiah, or however you pronounced it, Glass. And they brought in the guy from Liberty that I keep forgetting his name, Jordan White.
Jordan White, he's going to be your center this year.
Those are two incredibly talented guys that if they can do what Vanderbilt expects them to, and they brought in Gunnar Hansen from Virginia Tech, I believe. If those guys can, not Gunnar Hansen.
Yeah, not Gunnar Hansen.
Givens.
Gunnar Givens.
Gunnar Givens from Virginia Tech.
Well, another guy that you're forgetting that's returning is Chase Mitchell. Chase Mitchell from Liberty.
Former Liberty transfer.
That was good for Vanderbilt last year. That's a guy that you're going to get back this year on the offensive line. So a lot of new faces, but a guy that was an anchor in that position group last year is going to be returning, and that's a good sign.
Yeah, then there was a response from World's Strongest Vandy fan says, Vanderbilt offensive line, we have the, in all capital letters, beefs. And then he says, don't mention clock management. Half our fans think we were trying to air it out and need every 4-star wide receiver in the portal. We'll push back on that. Vanderbilt doesn't want to air it out. It would still be nice to have some more threats to the wide receiver.
Yeah, give me one or two more guys and I'll be good.
Oh, there actually was another basketball question. I just missed those all around. Who is next up for the basketball transfer merry-go-round? No idea.
I mean, it's like we keep saying, guys, there's no more, like there's not going to be another Tyler Harris. There's not going to be another Frankie Collins. Like it's depth now, and it's maybe one or two guys, maybe one. The next guy that they get, I would highly doubt if they see the court this year, then something went drastically wrong for Vanderbilt basketball.
Yeah, I think the roster's basically in place.
I think it's done.
So
for the most part, it's done.
I think there's one more football here, and it's actually a very interesting question. Never seen this one. It says, what's a school you'd like to see our football team schedule a home-and-home series against? And then he goes on to say, this is Commodore Cam, says, I'd choose Louisville or Memphis. Easy drive to both, and I always love to see those schools lose.
I was going to say Louisville. I think that's a really good one. Also, I'm going to go I'm going to go Georgia Tech as well. I know we went to their place a couple of years ago and lost, and we just played them in the bowl game. I love the city of Atlanta. I think that would be a really cool home and home.
I know mine off the rip, Northwestern. That is my ideal. It makes sense. Both teams in a number one and number two conference in the country. Both schools are private universities, high-level academics. And also on the selfish side, Northwestern sucks. And things are not looking up for them.
Well, also both in great cities. Chicago's a sick city.
Chicago and Nashville. So really fun trips for both fans.
And not a bad drive.
The other one that makes sense is Duke. I don't want to do that one because Duke has a really good program. Vanderbilt's done series with Wake Forest in the past. That one makes a lot of sense. I would say Rutgers would be another one. That's not an easy drive or anything, but just another
New Jersey.
Higher level academic university that would be an oddity that would give Vanderbilt a chance to win both matchups against a Power 4 team. That's
Boston College would be cool.
Boston College would be
really cool. I'm trying to think of others. I'm trying to think too teams that I would want to play because I would want to go to. I don't want to play Notre Dame again because they're a power, but I would love to go back to South Bend, Indiana to watch a football game.
See, I just fully view it as you're required to have one other Power 4 team in your non-con, and I'm looking for a team that's the most likely win scenario. That also adds some kind of cool matchups, and for Vanderbilt, that's Northwestern. That's the one to me that just jumps off the page. It's like that's my ideal matchup.
Yeah, see, I would lean Georgia Tech, but I think Northwestern's a great one.
And then somebody responded to that Pepperdor and said Virginia is who they would offer.
Virginia has a gorgeous campus.
It's an interesting one.
Gorgeous campus.
Somebody else said Pittsburgh.
Oh, God, no. Pittsburgh, the city sucks. They don't play at their own stadium. They play at Heinz Field. So if you've never been to the University of Pittsburgh, my ex-girlfriend is an alum there, and she took me there one Christmas to show me the campus. There is no campus. It is literally in downtown Pittsburgh. Like, there is a building for your business school right next to, like, an investment bank. It is the weirdest situation. Pittsburgh as a city stinks. The food is mid as hell. I'll take that back. I did like Pittsburgh a lot. The University of Pitt, though, stinks. I'm still hurting, guys. I'm still hurting. I'm just kidding. I'm fully healed.
But that is all we have on the football side of things. That is all the questions. Not a lot more to update on basketball or football. Trevor, do you have anything else to add? Because I certainly do not. Besides on Diego Pavia's Instagram story, he was doing a backflip and then a fake rolling some dice and then throwing some money in the air. I saw that. That's the last football update I have.
Yeah, that's my quarterback, baby.
That is my quarterback. But we are going to take a quick TDR cocktail break. Grab yourself a delicious ice cold beverage, and we will be right back after the TDR cocktail break. Welcome back from the TDR cocktail break, and welcome back into episode 314 after some more technical difficulties, Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what just happened, but
it's like our power went out.
But like half of our power went out. The overhead lights didn't go out. The oven clock and stuff like that didn't go out, but the sign behind us flickered and went out. The internet went out briefly, and like a couple other plugs went. Very weird. Get it together, NES. I don't know. But we have baseball to get to. Also on the football front, I was just on Instagram while you were fixing our technical difficulties. Thank you, producer. But I saw it was Tristan Brown's birthday, Vanderbilt wide receiver. So happy birthday, Tristan Brown.
Happy birthday, Tristan Brown. Happy Pi Day birthday.
Absolutely. Anytime we see that, we'll try to shout it out. We will not be keeping up with birthdays, but make us aware if you know of any.
Yeah.
So getting to baseball, Trevor, it's your time to shine, baby.
Oh, baby.
We have
time for people to get angry at me again.
People are mad at Trevor. I've tried to say and distance myself a bit through a few episodes from Trevor's harsh takes. Me and Trevor agree, I would say, on like 80 to 90% of Trevor's takes. Where I didn't extend was did you call for Corbin's job? I think there was one episode you ended on a note.
I did. I ended on a note like that. I also tweeted, "It is time for Corbs to hang up."
And I think I went, I won't say that. But
I'll say this. I still stand by that. You guys, the woke mob is not going to bully me because I know there's a silent majority behind me right now. I get DMs. I get texts. The people are with me. The woke mob will not bully me.
Here's the thing, Trev. I'm behind you on a lot of what you're saying. Where
you're part of the swamp.
The split of the roads is I'm so in agreement where we are just the 80 to 90% is
We're lockstep.
Hate the fact that Vanderbilt fans at this point, where Vanderbilt baseball has been the last few years, it is blasphemy to criticize anything Vanderbilt baseball is doing. That's where me and you agree. And I think that's 80 or 90% of it is it's not blasphemy to say this team, when we were hitting the peak of saying this team has problems, we were saying this team is last in almost every meaningful offensive statistic in the SEC. Last place.
Mhm.
The reason they're not last place in the SEC is the pitching and defense is damn good. And that is a staple of Tim Corbin. Pitching and defense, always damn good. But in the modern landscape of college baseball, you have to have power. And you have to have guys that get on base. And Vanderbilt just wasn't doing that. And they're still not really doing it super consistently. It has just improved over the last few weekend series. So Vanderbilt didn't go anywhere. They were at home this weekend against Alabama. Their second to last home series of the season. What were they? 19? Is that right? Alabama at the time? Number 18 or 19, Alabama came to town. Game 1, Vanderbilt won 12-2 in a great performance from J.D. Thompson. Good offensive output. In Game 2, Vanderbilt lost 5-2. And then in Game 3, in a thrilling walk-off comeback fashion and an incredible center field shot home run from Braden Holcomb. I wrote down J.D. Thompson, which is very funny because obviously he did not hit the walk-off home run.
Shohei action.
But Braden Holcomb hit an incredible walk-off home run that saved the series. And I don't want to be dramatic and say saved the season, but realistically saved national seed chances for Vanderbilt. I don't want to say saved hosting chances because if they come out and beat Tennessee in this series and then sweep Kentucky, I even think with a 1-2 series loss to Bama, they would have been in the conversation and would have hosted. But they saved their national seed hopes. I don't know if the questions have been fully answered about this team making a postseason run, but they're sitting at number 11 in the country right now. And some things are looking and trending in the right direction. The bats seem to be performing better, not consistent, but they are better. Alex Kurbagov, our writer, one of our writers here at TDR, wrote an incredible recap article of the Alabama series where he wrote his takeaways. One of his main takeaways was Nelson, Johnston, Holcomb. Exactly what this team has needed. Vanderbilt's 3, 4, and 5-hole hitters. Having them all back-to-back in the order gives Vanderbilt a great combination of high batting averages. Holcomb and Nelson are hitting 350 and 373 in SEC play with OBPs over 420. Those three have 22 of Vanderbilt's 47 home runs on the season. This is all directly from Alex Kurbagov's recap. There are portions of this lineup that are performing well. I don't know if the lineup as a whole is putting it together yet. Trevor, you're the baseball guy. We have a lot of message board questions to get to. Some people are claiming certain portions of this fan base do not deserve to celebrate this series victory.
I saw a tweet like that. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Whoever
in my
the
life.
people saying that, congratulations, you were Jerry Stackhouse.
Yeah, you're doing what you hate.
Do not alienate.
You're doing what you hate.
Passionate portions of this fan base, especially when a lot of people aren't really even diving into what these people are really saying. Now, some of your takes, I will say unabashedly, I understand why there are visceral reactions to some of the things you've been saying. But Trevor, how are you feeling after the Bama series? Has anything really changed in your mind, or are you still looking for more when it matters?
I still need more. And y'all are going to say, oh, here comes, what did you call me on the board? Hack squat hater?
Hack squat Hulan.
Hater, hack squat Hulan. Triple H.
Yep.
I'm going to start going by Triple H during baseball season. Hater, hack squat Hulan. I'm going to give you a reason why. I'm not bought in to what the VandyBoys are doing right now. I will say, please hear me out, guys. And I've said this on the pod before, and I want to reiterate it. My pride is not bigger than my love for Vanderbilt athletics. And what I mean by that is I would rather be proven wrong and be proven to be an idiot whenever it comes to these takes, if that means that Vanderbilt baseball is succeeding. I would not rather be proven right at the expense of Vanderbilt baseball or at the expense of Vanderbilt athletics. And so if you think that way of me, you have never really interacted with me, the podcast, or my Twitter, because you know that is not how I function. My pride is not bigger than my love for Vanderbilt athletics. With that being said, I want to be proven wrong so damn badly. But I need more. Hit me?
No, keep going.
I need more, and this is why. Vanderbilt got a great series win against Alabama. Question for you, Will. How many back-to-back weekend series has Vanderbilt won this year?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think back through the season. They've
SEC.
They've done it once, right?
SEC.
Once?
Zero.
Wow.
Every Vanderbilt, starting with Auburn, the first series of the weekend, Vanderbilt lost that series. They go on to win the next series. They go on to lose the next series. Vanderbilt has flip-flopped wins and losses between every single SEC weekend series this season. So God forbid I'm not believing yet after a series win against Alabama. You're going to have to do it again to make me a believer against a Tennessee team that I think you can do. Did you fact check me? I'm right.
Trevor is right.
I'm right. Yeah. So haters come at me. Everything I say is backed up by facts. So please prove me wrong. I will change my tune about this Vanderbilt baseball team if you can go to Lindsey Nelson Stadium and take a series against Tennessee. You don't have to sweep them. Just win the series against a Tennessee team that is down right now. Wait, as bad as Vanderbilt baseball has missed the expectation for me personally this year, Vanderbilt baseball this year is better than Tennessee baseball. Go to Lindsey Nelson, go to Knoxville, and get a series win for the first time in what feels like eternity, and get back-to-back weekend series wins against SEC competition. I'll change my tune. I promise, so help me God, guys, I'll change my tune. You just got to prove me wrong because you haven't yet, and I want to believe. But give me reason to believe.
The 0 back-to-back weekend series victories in SEC play. I did not realize that. That's a great stat pull, Trevor. It emphasizes what we titled last episode.
Consistently inconsistent.
Which was roller coaster baseball tycoons. It's not necessarily, and I saw a lot of people saying how dumb it is to live and die. And I don't even know if a lot of the people referencing undeserved to celebrate was referencing you or not. There are a lot of people saying it's dumb to live and die by at bat and by each inning of baseball. It is dumb. It's also dumb to live and die by each game. Baseball is a series. It's a game of series. And right now, Vanderbilt is not a roller coaster. They kind of are a roller coaster game to game, but they really are a roller coaster series to series. It doesn't matter. They went and beat Georgia, swept them. I don't know, and then lose to Oklahoma. You cannot understand why it doesn't matter if it's at home. This was not Vanderbilt's best series at home against Alabama. That was at home. Yeah. Now, what can they do, and can they back it up with a victory over another top 10 team? Can they do it?
Yeah, I think they can. I think this team, with the way they're first off with the pitching.
I have a stat poll for you.
Oh, hit me.
Vanderbilt leads the SEC in strikeouts. 555 from the pitching staff. So number one in the conference in strikeouts. They're not number one in ERA, but they are punching out batters. I wanted
this
to say
pitching staff's nasty
because I brought up that this staff doesn't have any just knockout guys that are coming out there like Kumar Rocker, Jack Leiter. The stats don't back up what I said on that. This is the best strikeout pitching staff in the SEC, which is the best conference in college baseball. So this is the best strikeout staff in the country. So I had to correct myself on that.
And I will say, I do agree with you that you don't have like that name recognition like you traditionally have had in the past. I will say, he actually probably had his worst outing of the season. I think Connor Fennell is that guy though. Like, I think whenever we look back through the history of Vanderbilt baseball, where you're going to say names like David Price, Carson Fulmer, Sonny Gray, Kumar Rocker, Jack Leiter, Connor Fennell. I believe that. I really do believe that. I think the kid's got it. But this weekend, the pitcher of the weekend was J.D. Thompson.
Yep.
And you got to give the kid his flowers. He struck out almost 50% of the batters he faced on Friday. And granted, shout to the offense for giving him run support. You desperately need that as a pitcher whenever you're going out there and you're throwing gas. It only amplifies you whenever your offense is able to back you up, takes a little bit of the weight off your shoulders. But man, this weekend, shout out to J.D. Thompson. He was absolutely nails Friday and really was the catalyst for this entire weekend series, in my opinion, for Vanderbilt.
Yeah, and we have a lot of premium message board questions about baseball to get to. We'll get to those in 1 second. I just have to point out the maturation of Brody Johnston. There are a lot of other guys that are getting attention, deservedly so. Brody Johnson took a dip for a second in his production, had a slump. He broke through that. As a freshman, sometimes you can see that spiral. So I just wanted to give a shout out there before we get into the questions. Also, Mike Mancini, just quietly, he hasn't hit for power like what you're really hoping. He's hitting 357 though. I mean, I just have to point that out because he's not getting a lot of talk as a transfer that has come in and performed well, and he's performing very well. All right, getting to premium. Oh, Tennessee. That's the last thing I wanted to talk about. We're not going to do a full series preview, but Tennessee, like you mentioned, is struggling.
They're reeling.
Tennessee is reeling. They have lost 3 straight series, and it has not been 3 straight series to the top level competition in the SEC. They lost a series to Kentucky, lost a series to LSU, and then lost a series to Auburn this most recent weekend. Vanderbilt cannot be the bounce back series for Tennessee. And this can turn the season for Tennessee just like it can turn the season for Vanderbilt. This is an incredibly pivotal series this upcoming weekend.
And I want to highlight about those 3 series is Vanderbilt hasn't been great at the plate all year long in terms of power. I know whenever you think of Tennessee, you think of power. I know I do. Whenever you look at these past 3 series for Tennessee baseball, not a lot of power. They combined for 12 runs in the entire series against Kentucky, 8 against LSU, and 6 against Auburn. It doesn't take a baseball genius to realize in a 3-game series that's not good. So Vanderbilt has a chance to go into Lindsey Nelson and really capitalize, especially with a pitching staff that's throwing gas right now.
We're going to see. Let's get to the premium message board questions. Then me and Trevor will give our series predictions. And then we will close out this episode because I don't know how long this one's going to be. I said it was going to be short, but I'm not really sure.
I think we're clocking in about 45 minutes right now.
Solid. So it'll be about an hour because we have quite a few baseball questions. All right. First up, we're just going in chronological order. So respond to these early. Actually, not chronological because there was one unrelated to baseball that I want to ask. Somebody, NBA Door asks, are you planning on doing any live episodes of TDR? Would feel like a Vandy call-in radio show with actual coverage, maybe every 5 episodes. VandyFan95 said the return of talking with TDR would be awesome.
I love those ideas.
So number one, I want to address that we're probably not going to do any live podcast episodes. Right now it's just, and when we get into the SEC tournament and NCAA tournament, what we do is our live episodes are our spaces. That gives you the opportunity to actually call in, interact with us live. Now, bringing back talking with TDR, that's going to happen probably a couple times this summer.
Yeah.
When we need to fill in time, there's not sports going on once baseball season ends. We're going to need to hear your thoughts. What's going on in your life? What movies are you watching? What TV shows are good? Talking with TDR will make a return. On the Rivals board, people that are new, we do Twitter Spaces. I know that's exclusionary if you don't have Twitter, but that's what we found is best. We have technical difficulties all the time just trying to record offline. Doing a live show was disastrous the first couple times we tried.
Yeah.
We're scrapping that for now until we have a bigger budget. So, yeah, we will bring back Talking with TDR. We will be having Twitter Spaces during football season very consistently. That will be your kind of live chance. And Talking with TDR will be back this summer. But as far as live episodes go, it's just tough. We have the best technology we can have, but without an on-site producer that's kind of a third person here. And Jacob Scholl, one of our staff members, can maybe help us in the future. But right now it's just not in the cards for us.
I also, too, I don't want to be that guy. I would love nothing more. It's actually always been a dream of mine to do like a live TDR in, say, Lot 2 pregame. From a pragmatic sense, it would worry us because our equipment, most of it is actually like our own stuff that we have paid for out of pocket. And so if it was to break, like, for example, the laptop and the phone that we record off are my personal phone and laptop. If those were to break, or if Will's work computer was to break, we would be in a world of hurt. So the safety of our home is much nicer.
But the main issue with the live is just the technology, internet, like what we've had happen during this episode.
I don't even know how we would get internet out there.
Well, he's not even saying live in person. He's just saying live, like a call-in show, like a normal live on YouTube, live across Twitter, all that. We've tried that before. It didn't work very well.
Bad.
But yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was laggy. It was screwed up. It just didn't work how we wanted it to. And we didn't have somebody on the back end that wasn't live in front of the camera to work on fixing it. So that was the problem. Also, hot mic situation. Me and Trevor have some things to say.
Yeah, a hot mic situation would be detrimental to our professional careers.
Yeah. So let's get to the baseball questions that are actually related to baseball. All right. First up from World's Strongest Vandy fan says, sources are saying the VandyBoys are B***CK back. On that note, do early season concerns rear their ugly heads in regional play? Or have the new approaches nipped those issues in the bud? I think we kind of addressed that.
They're not back yet. Take this series this weekend. They're back.
Yeah. I would 100% agree with that.
Get 2 SEC series wins in a row, and I'll be willing to say they're back.
Okay. That's fair. All right. Going on to Unabridged says, who besides Hawks can be a lockdown arm in this bullpen? This starting rotation hasn't shown the ability to get super deep in games consistently. Miller Green, this is not part of the question. I want to say Miller Green is not shown he can be consistent.
I thought you were about to say he has shown.
No,
I was gonna be like,
no. I'm saying he's the guy that you want to say before the season, early in the season, you wanted to be able to say right now. Besides Hawks, he's not been doing it. So Trevor, I think that's a big question mark right now. Even though this pitching staff has been great, do they have anyone outside of Hawks to come in and lock down in a series type play or regional type play? Because you're going to need more than one.
Just looking. That's such a good question because there's a lot of questions in the bullpen.
You think on that?
Luke Guth, maybe? But he's so young, and that's such a high-pressure situation.
I think it's a big question mark. I think that's one of the big question marks across this team right now. You can think on that. G-Barks24, shout out to George, says, is Holcomb's walk-off homer on Sunday the final nail in the coffin to him being a regular starter? He has played his way back into the lineup and should stay there. Then there were some people arguing, saying you don't think he's a starter? He's been in the starting lineup the last 12 or 15 games. Whatever.
I think what George is hitting on is the inconsistency season long.
Yes,
in which I would agree with George.
He should be an every night starter.
From the very first game of the season, Braden Holcomb should have been in the lineup every single night. I don't care how cold he is. He should have been in the lineup every single night. So I do agree. I don't care who the pitcher matchup is. Braden Holcomb should be in the lineup every single night. And he should have been all season long. I'll add that. He should have been all season long.
Yeah, there's one more question here and then a answer to that question before we answer it that I want to read before we close out. Well, there's actually a couple more. There's just one more. Says, what is going on with RJ Austin? This is from Pepperdor. Says, he's regressed almost to his freshman year production. However, this is a guy who is still on MLB draft boards, oozes talent. How can he, or in parentheses, Tim Corbin, get himself in gear for an Omaha run? We need him. Somebody responded, so I want to this is just a well thought out response and kind of might take away a very blatant blank response from us. Says, Vandy Jr. 2 said, here's my suggestion for RJ. It often works for me. Take a day off from baseball. Get a Starbucks latte and go to the zoo and watch the cute animals frolic and play like they're a hotshot center fielder. Go to a movie, preferably a comedy, but definitely not baseball themed. Take your girlfriend, spouse, significant other to a romantic dinner. Go to his/her/their place afterwards. Turn off the lights, light some candles, drink some non-alcoholic beverages that still taste good, snuggle under the blanket in front of the fireplace, perhaps on a bear rug. What you do next is up to you and him/her/them and what time of the month it is.
We love inclusivity
Presto.
at TDR.
Everything is back to normal the next morning. He'll be hitting doubles and triples, getting on base by hook or crook, stealing bases, stacking every fly ball between the foul lines, and leading us to victory once again. That's kind of where the reason I wanted to read that is that would be my response is like, this is a mental thing.
It's totally mental.
You always talk about baseball being such a mental game. RJ Austin has all the talent in the world. He's incredible in the field. He had a good series this past weekend against Bama. Am I wrong?
I mean, he had one game to where he went
He had
3 for
one
4,
very
3
good
for
game.
5.
But yeah, RJ Austin, I wanted to say something there. I'm not sure. And get back out there. That's it. I mean, just get your mind off baseball, get back on track. You're late in the season. RJ Austin has every bit of talent you want.
Yeah.
I'm confident he will get back into form.
I think too, and it's terrible. This is not real advice. And if RJ Austin is listening to this, he probably shouldn't take my advice because I'm not a high level college baseball player that's teetering on going in the first round of the Major League Baseball draft. But whenever you hear professional baseball players talk about like how to get out of a slump, a lot of them just sort of reiterate and describe how at the end of the day, like you're just playing a child's game. And like a lot of these big league guys who go through slumps just have to remind them, like at the end of the day, like it's just a game. Like, and so you sort of had to get your way out of that mental block. And with baseball, thankfully, all it takes is one hit. All it takes is really one good at bat to get yourself out of a slump. So I think RJ Austin can. And I think he's very much capable of doing so. Just takes one good at bat for him to get hot for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and it's not like he's batting in the 100s or something. I mean, it's lower than you want to see his production. It is way lower than you want to see his production, obviously. But I think it's like in any sport. If you play golf, if you play basketball, if you start thinking about what you are doing, you're in trouble. And once things start going bad, the natural inclination is to overthink and really analyze every single thing you're doing and figure out what's wrong. Mm-hmm. And that's actually the opposite of what you need to do if you're a good baseball player. And RJ Austin is a good baseball player. So that's going to be a make or break, though. If Vanderbilt can find a secondary bullpen go-to guy, and if RJ Austin can turn it on, that's a good 2 question marks moving forward as Vanderbilt enters their last 2 series of the season and enters postseason play. Trevor, anything else you want to add here on episode 314? We got the latest D1 baseball bracket prediction, actually.
Yeah, Vanderbilt slated ahead of Tennessee, national seed.
Yep.
That would be a hell of a super regional if Vanderbilt was able to make it.
It was Vanderbilt as an 8, Tennessee as a 9.
Yeah.
And it was Vanderbilt in the same region as Louisville, hosting Louisville, which would be wild if they decided to do that, as well as it would be wild if they decided to put Vanderbilt versus Tennessee if both of them held serve and had to do a super regional. That would be wild. So kind of hoping for that, to be honest. That would be fantastic.
That would be electric baseball. Parting words. In regards to Vanderbilt baseball, I just kind of want to reiterate what I said earlier. Guys, I know you think I'm being too harsh on this team. You know, I think I'm being overly critical. I just want to reiterate, this team has not won 2 weekend series in a row all season long. They win a series, they lose a series. They win a series, they lose. It's been like that since Auburn. If this team can prove to me that they can get back-to-back series weekend wins, going to Tennessee, a tough place to play. Tennessee, even though they're in a slump, still a very, very dangerous ball club. I think this could really catapult Vanderbilt. I think just the idea and what that does for your mental psyche of going to Lindsey Nelson and getting a series win against a Tennessee a team that has had your number for a long time now can really do wonders for the rest of the season going into the regional and, God willing, going into a super regional. I'll also say this. I've said it on past pods. I've said it on Twitter. If this team can make a super regional, I will go on a 30-minute tirade to where I apologize and self-deprecate myself and talk about how stupid I am. And I hope I do so. Believe me, I hope I get to give you guys that content.
Trevor's hoping he gets to self-deprecate for a solid 30 minutes, or as he put it on Twitter and I had to pause him, a suck fest of Tim Corbin.
I'll give, dude, straight up suck fest, man. Unpause.
Vanderbilt right now leading Louisville 1-0, I believe, in the bottom of the second. I cannot see because the screen on my phone is very small. But that's about it for episode 314 of the Door Report. There will be a lot of cuts in this episode, a lot of technical difficulties, but hopefully it all comes out good on the back end. We will see. I have a hell of an editing job in front of myself. But for myself, Will Byrum, and my co-host, Trevor Hulan, this has been episode 314 of the Door Report, powered by 615 Collectibles.